In this episode, I'm bringing you my personal Skate 4 wish list. I'm letting you know everything that I want to see in the next game. So follow along and let's talk some skate.
Bam bam ayo, what a bam bam.
That ain't got nothing to do with rap. Check the facts, expose those cats.
Welcome to another episode of the Hippy Jump Podcast, a podcast all about the video game franchise Skate. If you enjoy what I bring you today, I would greatly appreciate if you like and subscribe to the podcast and even comment down below to get featured in the next episode. I am your host, William, and today I will be talking all about what I personally want out of the next Skate game. I have made a list of things like features, modes, and even specific characters that I want to see in the next game. But before we get into today's topic, I do want to reflect on last week's episode because I did ask you to comment down below and give me your opinion on all the Skate 4 news and anything like that. And you guys did. I really appreciate the support from the first episode. I didn't expect to get as many views and comments as I did, and I'm very grateful that I did. It was really awesome. So thank you so much. And I just want to run through some things that people said in the comments. So the first comment that I'm bringing you is by Sleepy Dog, and he said, Skate 4 is the only game I will buy day one. Pretty straightforward, and I can agree with that. I am very hesitant on buying video games day one because you just never know. A lot of these games are releasing very unfinished. Not to say that Skate 4 is going to be perfect when it releases, because literally no one has any idea if it will be, but I don't know, I'm pretty confident, so. Next up is J Shred Dad, and he says that he thinks the next game in the Skate franchise is simply just going to be called Skate, and I can agree with that. It seems like all the branding and everything is just Skate. I just call it Skate 4, because it's easier to distinguish than just calling it Skate, because I could be talking about any other game. He also goes on to say that it's probably going to be an online open world, which I think is, obviously it's not confirmed, but we can pretty much say, yeah, it's probably going to be an online open world. And then he goes on to say, I firmly believe that EA and Full Circle will incorporate the original Flick-It controls, obviously, but the dual stick as an optional / hardcore mode, and possibly some basic stat sliders or something to appeal to fans of Skater XL in session. And I absolutely agree with what he's saying here. Obviously, Flick-It system's gonna be there. We saw it in the video that we've seen, but I think they will introduce some sort of dual stick control system, just because, skate games are different these days. It's kind of, the genre's kind of evolved, and that's where we are now. We're in dual sticks, turn your skater with the triggers. That's just kind of how it works now. And in my opinion, that's the better way to have a skate game than just one stick. But of course, I understand people that don't like those controls, so they want to keep it at the Flick-It system. I think it would be best to appeal to both crowds, but like we talked about in the last episode, who knows if they're actually doing that, because Milky did say he's still pushing for them to have dual stick control, so we're not really sure at this time. Another comment is a pretty lengthy one, which I really appreciate. It's really awesome to take the time and type all this stuff out and give me all your thoughts like this. I love it. I just kind of want to boil it down. So Giacomo, I hope I'm saying your name right. I think I am. I don't know how else he would say it, but I'm not sure. Basically, what he says in his comment, since he saw the leak, it makes him a little concerned with the flips and everything. He says it looks a little less realistic than he wants it to. He says he doesn't really see it catering to realistic players as much as he wants it to. And he thinks that over the years, the Skate 3 meta has kind of turned into colored grip tapes, trick lining, glitching, all the super unrealistic skateboarding stuff. And I totally get that. That really has become Skate 3. And I don't have a problem with that. That's how people want to play. That's their thing. That's cool with me. But he does think that this next Skate game is catering to those guys. And I think it'll be catering to both crowds. I don't think they'll leave out the realistic skaters. I know they know that there's a lot of realistic players out there. So I don't think they'll just leave those players in the dark, but I totally get his concerns after seeing that with the super unrealistic flips and stuff. I don't blame him, but you know, we only did see like 30 seconds, so we'll see how it really ends up being. He then goes on to say some of his predictions for the next game, so I'm gonna read them off here. He says it's gonna be free to play, many microtransactions, POV mode, which I'm assuming is like first person mode skating, which would be insane, wear and tear, day and night cycle. I can see both of those being in the game. He says Street League skateboarding and the barracks, like the Battle of the Barracks, will be in it. You will have your own pro model, which is awesome. I think that would be a great idea. He says the game will not release before spring of 2023. Crossplay will be in the game, and that's his predictions for the next game. I've seen a lot of people say that free to play is a possibility, and that would be very interesting. They could do some sort of battle pass things. I'm sure that's how they would do that. Personally, I don't think it's going to be free to play, but it is definitely possible with the way video games are today. So the game not releasing before spring of 2023, I can get behind that. I don't think it's going to come out before spring of 2023 as well. I think it's going to come out next fall or winter, maybe even after that, who knows. Crossplay, I think you can for sure see that coming. Street League and Barracks is very interesting because that's actually part of the stuff I want to talk about in today's topic. That is part of my wish list for Skate 4 is Street League and the Barracks, but I'll get into that in a second. Last but not least, we have Felix, and he's just expressing his love for Skate 4 and saying how hype he is. He says the leak was sick and he would love to see more. He wants an official gameplay video with release date. He wants anything he can get, any news, any updates, and I am the same way. I'm trying to find it anywhere I can on the internet. He also says, I don't think it's going to be free to play because a major gaming retailer here in New Zealand has it for pre-order, which is interesting. I didn't really know about that, so I went ahead and looked it up. And on EB Games in New Zealand, there is a page for Skate 4, has a Skate 4 logo and everything, which is weird. I mean, obviously it's all placeholder, I guess, until they've actually announced the game and stuff. But it's weird that they have it on the website nonetheless. I don't really know what that means, but it is an interesting bit of information. Because as far as I know, in America, we don't have anything on our websites. And America even had EB Games. I don't know if we still do have EB Games, but we have GameStop, so. And it's definitely not on the GameStop website, so who knows. But those are some of the comments you guys left on my video from the last episode. I really, really loved reading your guys' feedback and all the love and support you guys gave me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So now, let's hop into today's topic, my Skate 4 wish list. What do I want out of the new game? And I feel like I can make more than one video on this because there's so many things that I want, but right now I just have a small list of things that I'm gonna run through. So I think the first thing on my list is honestly the most important thing that I can think of, in my opinion, for me as a skate player, and that is stat sliders. A whole list of stats that you can move up and down, you know, to change your flip speed, the gravity or whatever, stuff like that, you know, pop force, pop height, all the sorts of things that go into skateboarding and boards flipping and all that stuff to really customize how you want to be and how grounded you want your skateboarding to be. You know, in the last game we had easy, normal, hardcore, and hardcore was good sometimes, but sometimes hardcore was a bit too much and not realistic enough because you would try to just get on a normal ledge and you couldn't even do that sometimes. So it would be perfect if you could go in and really tweak your stats there to be able to skate that ledge or something like that. It would just help to really dial in your playstyle even more than you could before. So I think that's really my biggest request for this next game is stats. Another thing I think should be in the next skate game is mod support. Since we have it on PC, I think it's a perfect opportunity to have mod support, have people be able to make mods, modded maps, things like that. Obviously, it's a skate game, so we're gonna have like a park builder and graphics creator and stuff like that. So I don't think mods are as important as like a Skater XL or something, but I think mod support being there regardless will be good for the community. I personally am not a PC player, so I probably won't even be taking advantage of these mods, but I want it for the community. I know this is what people want, so I want to see them get that. The next thing, I've talked about this multiple times already, is dual stick controls. I talked about it earlier in the video, so I'm not gonna go into it again, but I really need dual stick controls in this game. It's the way I like to play skate games now. Going from Skater XL to back to Skate, it doesn't feel as good as Skater XL. I feel like you can just dial in your tricks a lot more with dual stick controls. But I'm not gonna keep harping on that because I've already been going through that with you guys. Another thing is something I kind of touched on last episode, and that is the impromptu games of Skate online. You pull up to your friend and you're like, you click a menu button or something and you initiate a game of Skate. The way I think it would work is whoever initiates it, and then once you do a trick, that's the trick you're setting. And so if you're doing it down a stair set, I guess you guys can make sure you're doing it down the stair set. I don't know if it would be like you actually zoom out and pick a select spot or something. I don't think it would be like that, but you could just be setting tricks while on a certain object that you both agreed on. I think that would be really cool and really up the social aspect of Skate. This is something I've wanted in Skater XL forever and we don't have. You can play Skate in Skater XL, but it's not like an official thing. And you can play Skate in older Skate games, but it's like fixed to a game mode. I think this would be cool if you could just roll up to anything and be like, yo, game of Skate down the stairs, game of Skate down the handroll, stuff like that. And this could also translate to 1-up, of course. If they're gonna bring 1-up back from Skate 3, you know, that's more of a score setting type of thing. And this could work the exact same way. Like, hey, let's play 1-up, set a score on this object, or just do a line, set a score, stuff like that. Another thing is the competitive skating. So I wanna go back to what Giacomo was talking about, saying Street League and Battle of the Barracks. That is exactly what I would like to see in this game. Street League, I feel like, is such a must. You know, it's so tied to skating now. It's such a normalized thing. It's like Street League, that's the event. It used to be X Games, but I feel like Street League is where it's at now. And I think it would be really cool if we get multiple courses in the game, like in the story mode, part of the competition skating and stuff like that. And I think it should work just like Street League works. But I think it would be really interesting if they kind of made a system for the competitive skateboarding. Instead of just going through the park and racking up points, I think it would be cool if you were actually graded on cleanness of your line and what tricks you're stringing together, how much your line flows, how much it makes sense together. I think that might be hard to program. Again, like I said last episode, I'm not a game developer, but I think it would be cool if it graded you more on how you're skating instead of just, you know, a score, because you can just sit there and spam tricks and rack up points and combos, but it doesn't look good, and definitely not for Street League. You know, you want to flow through the park, hit things, do certain tricks. I think it would be really cool if you were graded on how well you're skating. Another thing is Battle at the Barracks. I think the Barracks Park in itself should be in the game, and then I think you should be able to do Battle at the Barracks. I think this would be really cool. You could do it with all the pros in the game, and it could just be straight up like bracket style competition type thing. And then this could also go online. It's perfect. It's competitive right there. Like, that is literally esports, is Battle at the Barracks online on Skate. I think that stuff kind of writes itself, and I wouldn't imagine that Battle at the Barracks wouldn't want to be part of the next game, because they've always championed for another Skate game. So another thing is a little idea that I have for, you know, filmers and people that like to make, you know, parts or montages in Skate games, which I do on my other YouTube channel. I make Skater XL parts. I haven't made any in a while, but I've made a good bit of them. And when this next Skate game comes around, I'm gonna wanna make them. So what I mean by build a part is you film all your clips and everything, and you save it into the game, just like you can do now on Skate 3. And it would be nice if they had a little, not crazy super in-depth thing, but a little video editor where you can actually put your part together in the game. Or say, you know, in part of the story, hey man, you just got signed, it's time for you to be in this Skate video, make your part. And then they require you to film a certain amount of clips, and then you can put it all together yourself. That might be dreaming too big. I don't know if that's too ridiculous to put in the game, but I think that would be a really cool thing to do. I think it would be kind of building on the, you know, how you have filming a spot and then it'll show you your little clips. In Skate 3 it'll be like this part and then it'll go to this part and then this part. I think it'll be kind of building off of that, but you're actually putting a whole part together. And also on top of that, I think there should be some more improvements to the replay editor. Personally, I think Skater XL has got it down. The replay editor is fantastic. And I think really all the Skate 3 one needs is the ability to move the camera like that. And then also on Skater XL, you can, while you're watching the replay, you can slow it down at certain points. And you could, while you're recording your clip, you can slow it down with the trigger and like ease off of it, and it's really smooth slow motion. So I think that would be super important to the replay editor as well. And as we know, with everyone on the Skate Council, they know all about that replay editor. So I think they'll probably be bringing up those kind of things to full circle. Another thing I wrote down is an actual open world, which I think we're gonna get. The reason I say that is Skate 3 was broken up into sections, and I really didn't like that. I think they probably did that because it was limited hardware at the time, and there's a lot going on in a skate game, so maybe they had to cut the map up in sections to save, you know, space or whatever. I'm not really sure how that works, but that's what I would imagine. That's the reason they did that. But I don't think the next skate game is going to be cut up in sections like that. I think that's an old style thing. I don't think they'll do that now. Another thing I have is not something I would expect, but if they could do this, it would be really cool. And that's somehow getting in freestyle skating. If you don't know freestyle skating, it's more like old school skating, or like Rodney Mullen, people like that. Obviously, I don't think we can have Rodney Mullen in this game because he's in Tony Hawk. But someone we can have who's very relevant today, especially to kids that skate, and very relevant to freestyle skating because he's like the head of it right now, is Andy Anderson. Like, that's his thing. I think it would be perfect if somehow you end up pulling up on Andy Anderson in the open world and you're like, whoa dude, it's Andy Anderson. And he's like, yo, what's up guys? And then he teaches you how to freestyle skate. I don't know how it would work. I have no idea if it would be like a completely separate mode. Maybe you click in the sticks and now you're in freestyle mode and all your sticks do different things like freestyle related. I have no idea how that would work or if it would even be in the game, but I think that would be something cool regardless. That's definitely one of the more out there ideas that I've had for this game. With or without freestyle skating, I think Andy Anderson obviously should be in the game anyways because he's just sick. And if you didn't see his Dark Slide from Tampa Pro like a week ago, you gotta watch it. Matter of fact, it's right here. He's absolutely insane. He's basically like a real Skate 3 character. My next idea is the 9 Club. I think the 9 Club should be in this game. We've seen the 9 Club and Skate interact with each other on social media and stuff like that. And we know they're aware of who each other are, obviously. If you don't know what the 9 Club is, it's a skate podcast. Probably the biggest skate podcast, ran by Chris Roberts, and they interview a bunch of skaters. And you know, I think all of those dudes should be in the game. Chris Roberts, Kelly Hart, Jerron, Roger, all of them should be in the game. And I think it would be cool if at some point in the game they have like the courthouse or something, you pull up on the courthouse and it's Chris Roberts doing switch flip Manny. And he's like, yo dude, I've heard a lot about you. Why don't you come on the 9 Club? And then it's like a whole thing where you go on the 9 Club and he asks you questions and you select the answers or something. I think that would be cool. I don't know how that would work, but I think that would be a cool thing. It wouldn't have to be like a major thing in the game, but just a little side thing that you do. And obviously it wouldn't be like a whole hour interview. It would just be like a few questions and be like, you just select answers to it. I think that would be cool. I think 9 Club is also a huge part of skateboarding now as well. And I think they have to acknowledge it. Also, you can have that brand as clothing and skateboards in that game as well. And obviously with that, you would have to have your character actually speak. And I think that's another thing that we have to have in this game. is the ability for your character to speak. Give us a few choices for a voice and actually have your character have some dialogue for a change. All the skate games, your guy's just completely quiet all the time. Even when he falls, he's just like that's it. Like they have no expressions. And I think that is something they're gonna change. Because if you didn't see in the leak, when his guy falls over, he actually makes noise. So he's like, oh, like he gets hurt. And I think that's super important. And we have surprisingly never had that. So that's a lot of things that I want gameplay wise added to the game and like a list of features and stuff. That's only some things. I can make a whole nother one of these, I'm sure. But I do have a few characters and real life people that I think have to make it into this game. So the first person, I think you're all gonna know who I'm gonna bring up. It's Coach Frank. We gotta have Coach Frank back in this game. If you didn't know, Coach Frank is played by a pro skater named Jason Lee, who also is like an actor in a lot of things that you've probably seen. Jason Lee is awesome. He was actually in the 9 Club recently, and he was talking like he didn't know anything about the new skate game, which could totally be just him acting. Or he really might not know that they were making one and he hasn't been hit up yet, which I hope really is not the case, because I think it would be a big miss to not get Coach Frank back. I don't remember word for word what he said in that interview, but I know he was open to coming back to skate. So I think it will happen, especially because Full Circle and everything, they fully acknowledge Coach Frank and love Coach Frank. The whole community does. That's a great character. So I think it's possible that he'll come back, and I would love to see him come back. Another character that I want back in the game is someone we had in Skate 1 and Skate 2. He was a big part of it. And then Skate 3 kind of went away for some reason. I'm not too sure what happened there, but it's Retta. I think Retta would be awesome to be your filmer again. I love in Skate 2 when you fall and Retta says something to you or like makes a joke about you, stuff like that. Retta's just a funny dude. But I think it would be really cool if Retta did come back. And another person that I think absolutely should be in this game is Tyler, the Creator. Obviously, I know he's not like a pro skater or anything, but he's probably the biggest like celebrity musician that was actually constantly talking about Skate 4, tweeting about Skate 4. He even had a song where it just kept repeating Skate 4, Skate 4, Skate 4 over and over and over again. I mean, that man was dedicated to bringing Skate 4 back, and I think he was a big part of keeping it relevant. And also with that, you could easily put his music into the game too, at least a song or two. I mean, Call Me If You Get Lost was fantastic, and I think it would be great if we had some of his music in it too. I think for him it would be cool just if he was a playable skater. Maybe if you run into him at some point and he's part of the story somehow. I don't expect him to be like, oh, play me the game of Skate, stuff like that, but I don't know, something. So like I said earlier, I could just keep going on and on about this. I have so many things that I could think of for this game, but I'm gonna leave it there for now. That is my wish list for Skate 4, some of the most important things that I want to see in this game for me personally. But of course, I want to hear what you guys want out of this game. Give me a list of things you guys want so I can reflect on it, bring it into the next episode, and talk about all the things you guys want. I know people will get really creative with their ideas, so I would love to hear them. So don't forget to comment down below. Even on Spotify, there's a little question there that you can reply to on the Spotify app if you're listening to the audio version. If you're on YouTube, just throw it down in the comments. I read them all, trust me. I'll be there, I'll see it. I'll probably respond to you as well, and then I'll still bring it into the next episode. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again to another episode of the Hippy Jump podcast. If you want more from me, anything that I'm doing is down below in the description. You can click on anything, come view my other podcast, go to my YouTube, go to my Twitch, anything, interact with me over there. I would appreciate that as well. And don't forget, like, rate, subscribe to the podcast. Helps me out a lot. You guys killed it for my first episode. Absolutely blew my mind. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and go play some skate.